I still remember the first December evening it happened. I was sitting near the window of a small house in a quiet Filipino neighborhood, the sky already turning that deep violet blue that feels softer here than back home. Christmas lights were everywhere, twinkling stars, blinking reindeer, pearl lanterns glowing like tiny suns. I remember thinking, this place really knows how to do Christmas. Then suddenly, one by one, the houses around me went dark. Not fully dark, just the main lights. The Christmas lights stayed on, but inside, the rooms dimmed as if everyone had agreed on a secret signal. At first, I thought there was a power outage. I checked my phone, full battery, Wi-Fi still working. The electric fan still humming quietly. Outside, I could hear laughter, distant karaoke, and the soft clink of dishes. So, not a blackout. I leaned closer to the window, confused. Across the street, a family that had been brightly lit just moments ago now sat in near darkness, illuminated only by a single small bulb in the kitchen. Someone slowly closed their curtain. Another house turned off its porch light entirely. Why is everyone turning off their lights? I asked, half joking, half worried. The woman I was staying with smiled in a way that told me I was about to learn something very Filipino. Ah, she said casually. Because of the caroling. I laughed. I thought she was kidding. Then I heard it. At first, it was faint, high-pitched voices drifting through the air like a breeze. Then it got closer. A group of children, maybe 6 or 7 of them, walking together down the street. They were holding makeshift tambourines made from bottle caps, an old coffee can used as a drum, and one kid shaking a plastic rice container filled with coins. And then they sang. Not professionally. Not perfectly, but with so much joy it almost stopped me in my tracks. Ang Pasko ay sumapit. Their voices were loud, enthusiastic, slightly off-key, and completely fearless. They sang like the whole street was their stage, like Christmas itself depended on their volume. I watched as they stopped in front of a brightly lit house at the end of the block. They sang the full song, clapping, swaying, smiling at each other. When they finished, they shouted together, "Thank you, Po," and waited. The door opened. Someone handed them coins. The kids bowed dramatically, laughed, and ran off to the next house. Then I noticed something else. They skipped the dark houses. Every house with its lights off was ignored completely. I turned slowly back to my host. "Wait," I said, realization hitting me. "People turn off their lights, so the kids won't stop there?" She nodded like this was the most normal thing in the world. "Yes," she said. "If lights are on, they will sing. If lights are off, they know no one is home or no money." I stared out the window again, watching this unspoken system in action. No signs, no notes, no announcements, just light on, light off. A silent conversation between households and children that somehow everyone understood. As an American, this absolutely blew my mind. Back home, Christmas caroling is something you see in movies or carefully organized events. People schedule it. They practice harmonies. They wear matching scarves. And most importantly, they don't just show up at random houses asking for money. If a group of kids did that in my hometown, parents would be peeking through blinds, whispering, "Don't answer the door." But here, it was different. Here, it felt accepted, expected, almost charmingly chaotic. Over the next few nights, I paid closer attention. As soon as the sun dipped below the horizon, a quiet ritual began. Lights went off early, much earlier than usual. Some families left just one small bulb on. Others relied entirely on Christmas lights for illumination. I even saw one house that had everything dark except a single glowing pearl in the window, like a polite compromise. The kids came every night. Different groups, different songs. Sometimes the same song, over and over again, sung with the same energy, like it was brand new each time. Some kids were barefoot, some wore oversized flip-flops. A few had Santa hats that looked older than they were, and they were fearless. They'd walk right up to a house, stand close together, and sing at the top of their lungs without hesitation. No embarrassment, no shyness. Just pure confidence and hope that maybe someone would open the door and hand them a few coins. I asked one of the neighbors how long this had been happening. Since forever, he said, laughing. When we were kids, we did that too. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about money. This was tradition, a cycle, something passed down quietly from one generation to the next. I started imagining what it must feel like for the kids. December nights, walking through familiar streets, singing songs they've known since they were toddlers. The thrill of hearing a door open. The tiny victory of coins clinking into a plastic cup. It wasn't about getting rich. It was about participation, being part of the season. And for the adults, turning off the lights wasn't cruelty. It wasn't rejection. It was communication, not tonight. We already gave earlier. We don't have extra today. No awkward conversations. No guilt. Just darkness. In a strange way, it was respectful. One night, I made a mistake. I forgot to turn off the lights. I was inside, editing on my laptop, headphones on, completely lost in my own world. Suddenly, I heard singing very loud, singing right outside the window. I jumped, pulled off my headphones, and froze. They were right there, 6 kids, all staring directly at the house, singing with absolute commitment. I panicked. What do I do? I whispered. My host laughed so hard she had to sit down. You give, she said. I scrambled through my bag, found some coins, and nervously opened the door. The kids' faces lit up the moment they saw me, a foreigner, blonde hair, very obviously not from around here. They sang even louder, like they were performing for an international audience. When they finished, I handed them the coins. They bowed dramatically, shouted, "Merry Christmas," and ran off laughing. I closed the door and just stood there, heart pounding, smiling like an idiot. That night, I turned off the lights early. Not because I didn't want to give again, but because I finally understood the rhythm of the place, the quiet rules that aren't written anywhere but everyone knows. December evenings here are a negotiation between generosity and survival, between joy and reality. People give when they can. They rest when they can't, and nobody judges either choice. In America, darkness often feels lonely. It feels like absence. But here, darkness felt intentional, purposeful, even kind. Some nights, I'd sit in the dim room, listening to distant caroling echo through the neighborhood, and feel strangely comforted knowing the kids were out there, doing what kids had always done. Singing badly, laughing loudly, believing that a song could turn into something tangible. I started noticing small details. How some families turned their lights back on after the kids passed, like the coast was clear. How others stayed dark the entire night, committed to their choice. How some houses gave every single time, no matter what, and became favorites. I also noticed that no one ever yelled at the kids. No one told them to go away. No one complained about the noise. Even when dogs barked and babies cried, the singing continued and the neighborhood absorbed it like background music. December here doesn't aim for perfection. It aims for participation. And that's why the lights go off. Not because people are hiding, but because everyone understands the rules of the game. A game built on shared history, shared songs, and shared understanding that Christmas isn't about decorations alone. It's about community, even when it's loud, inconvenient, and slightly awkward. By the time Christmas week arrived, I found myself doing it automatically. Sunset comes, finger reaches for the switch. Lights off, laptop dimmed, fans still on. Christmas lights glowing softly like a signal to the world that yes, it's December, and yes, we're part of it. Sometimes I'd hear the kids pass by and feel a small twinge of guilt. Other times, relief. And sometimes I'd turn the lights back on intentionally, just to hear the singing again. Because even when you don't open the door, even when you don't give a coin, the sound still reaches you. And that sound, the imperfect, joyful, unstoppable sound of children singing their way through December, is something I never heard back home. Here, it's just another reason the lights go out, and another reason Christmas feels alive.